All right, we're here with CaptainTwig with Gaming Trend. I'm here to just ask him some questions. You guys have a fresh victory under your belt here, day one of World Championships. Tomorrow you're playing the Bolts. Are you nervous? Are you eagerly anticipating this? What are your thoughts there?
I'm a little bit nervous to play against the Bolts. They're not that safe. I think we're favored against them pretty hard, just being the first seed. But they looked really good today against the Hex Mambo, who kind of had this underdog, we can win the whole thing story going on. They just 2-0'd them easily. They looked really prepared, and they had a lot of kind of scary pocket picks that most people don't play. So yeah, I'm excited to play. I mean, this has just been one of the most amazing games, and just the live audience was amazing today. So I'm really excited to play. But yeah, I think they will show up.
Cool. What is your, outside of the context of like pro play, what is your favorite god to play? Like, which one is you just like, hey, I just enjoy this one the most?
I think it's got to be Hebo as my favorite character to play. Even though he happens to be in my god pool right now, I've always felt that character being super fun. I played him when I was a mid laner. I always feel like there's just a little bit more you can do on that character, and there's always something you can learn from a fight. So it's got to be Hebo.
Are you a big fan of the changes where he's no longer rooted when he's casting was it the water spout? Or?
At first I wasn't. I really didn't like the change because I thought Hebo was great how he was. And it did take a long time to get used to how kind of slippery he can be moving with his 3. He's more of an assassin, more of a playmaker now, which is definitely what I want. So once I got used to it, I do prefer it, yeah.
Cool. If you could just wave a magic wand and then change one aspect of Smite, what would it be? What would you...
It would be to remove Nox, especially from Arena. It ruins the game.
You're not a big fan of the Nox, was it Sphinx's bubble? 60%
Oh man, I just stopped playing Arena. I just stopped playing Arena for months.
Is it kind of weird being in a place where just so many people here are just going to recognize you because they watch you online, and it's got to be kind of...
Yeah, it's surreal to be like this kind of athlete, this esport athlete at this event. You do just have 3 days of being kind of almost famous or like a royalty or some, for lack of a better word, just this amazing, like important person. Because in real life, I've been recognized like 3 times in 9 years, which... and it's amazing when that happens too, but I know that Smite isn't the biggest game and esports isn't the biggest thing compared to like conventional sports like football. But it is just amazing. The amount of people that are so happy to see you, they just want a fist bump or a hug or just a tiny little bit of interaction. It's amazing, and it's kind of humbling, and it just makes you so grateful for what position we're in.
One of the things I'm curious about, for younger viewers or people that are like, hey, I want to get into esports, they see the good stuff. They see publicly like, oh, hey, you're playing video games. You play games for a living. That's awesome. What are some of the non-sexy, less glamorous aspects of being a sports
I'll say you've got to deal with a lot of things that come up over time. One of them is going to be burnout, and if you're burnt out of a game and you're trying to compete and be the best at the game at the same time, you have to deal with that, and you have to maybe take a step back, play the game less. But if you play the game less, you're practicing the game less. That's one hurdle, I'd say, one of the biggest. I haven't wanted to wake up and play Smite the last 9 years of my life. I've gone in and out of wanting to play more or less of it. And you have to really make relationships with your teammates if it's a team game, and you live and die based on how well your relationships go, and sometimes some players won't be the right fit for your team, and it'll be very hard to let go of relationships versus maybe playing with a more, let's say, toxic or less friendly person who you can win with. And I think those are really hard things to balance in esports.
Right. Just from what I've observed, seeing the players, I have been struck, or what I've noticed is, and maybe it's a selection bias, but everybody seems really friendly. I see all the teammates from like multiple players from various teams all hanging together. Seems like a good sense of camaraderie. I don't know what I was expecting, if there'd be more like, oh, trash talking or anything like that.
Well, I think what you're capturing is what I almost said last, is that the best teammates, the best people to be around are going to end up on these teams. These Barracuda players, me, Zapman, these players that have been around forever. Laspra, people always want to play with him, and I know why, because I've met him, and he's this really nice guy, and these people that people really want to work with. And I think that kind of goes for almost the entire league. There won't be many players in the league, if any, that are horrible people to work with, because people are going to have to work with them for years or hours in every week, hours and hours and hours. And it does, and we are all in it together. Smite isn't the biggest game, and we are just a close-knit community. So I think those two combined things of, we have to be personalities that you can be friends with, and we are close-knit. So I think it does end up in us all just being happy for each other a lot of the time.
You can't trash people too bad if they might be on your team next year.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's happened with like Rafa before.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, just this past year, how many changes have been made in the past?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Well, cool. Hey, I appreciate it, your time. Do you have any shout-outs or anybody you wanted to say hi to or anything like that?
Just that I'm amazed and humbled by the crowd so far. I think they've been extremely supportive, and they've brought more hype than any kind of artificial thing or object can bring. It's just the people and the energy, and thanks for that.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.